Just a gorgeous day here in Baltimore. Moments away from kickoff. Let's send it down to the field. The third member of our team, Amanda Balionis.
Thanks, Andrew. 12 rookies played for the Raiders last week, and usually that kind of inexperience is a challenge that needs to be overcome. But this week, it could actually prove to be advantageous for this Oakland Raiders defense as they look to contain rookie quarterback Lamar Jackson. When I talked to defensive coordinator Paul Gunther about it, he said, hey, these young guys actually have had more ideas than I have on how to contain a dual-threat quarterback like Jackson, because he's putting up rushing numbers not seen in the NFL, but is so common in college. In college, not so distant of a memory for these rookies.
It's a great point. Thank you very much, Amanda. As you take a look at the standings in both the AFC West and the AFC North, as we told you earlier, Baltimore right now has the second wild card spot in the AFC because of tiebreakers, but they are one of 5 teams with a 5-5 record. The Ravens won the toss. They have elected to defer, so Oakland will get the football first. Our referee today is Clay Martin. And as we mentioned, 55 degrees, mostly sunny skies, and the wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. Ravens wearing their purple color rush uniforms. Justin Tucker kicks it away. Dwayne Harris back deep. And he will return this from 2 yards in his own end zone. Harris tripped up at the 18-yard line. And that's where Derek Carr will come out. Carr has gone 5 straight games without throwing an interception. His last pick came in week 5 against the Chargers, but the sack numbers are up 15 times in the last 3 games.
Andrew, sometimes I think that you eat the football instead of making a bad play, making it worse than what it is. And I think that's a tendency that Derek Carr has, and he just kind of has to live with those sack numbers.
And John Gruden has been harping on field position all season. Raiders have not had good field position, and that Harris return out of the end zone puts them back at their own 18 to start this first drive with Doug Martin, who's dragged down by C.J. Mosley. 2-yard pickup for the veteran running back, Doug Martin. John Gruden calls the plays for the Raiders. We already highlighted their 2 rookie offensive tackles, Miller and Brandon Parker, who's making his 7th consecutive start. And Jordy Nelson is active today. Did not play last week because of a knee injury. Carr, quick pass, Seth Roberts, and he's greeted by Eric Weddle, but Roberts picks up an Oakland first down, a gain of 10. Raiders go no huddle. Here's a look at the Baltimore defensive set under coordinator Don Wink Martindale, who was the Raiders linebackers coach from 2004 to 2008. Martin, he flips it back to Roberts, trying to get around the edge. And Roberts stays in bounds across the 40. Mosley with the hit for the Ravens defense, but back-to-back plays to Seth Roberts cover 21 yards.
I always love it when you run a reverse, because the guy who never blocks is the guy who's the lead blocker. Derek Carr, he's out in front, and look at, he's pushing Eric Weddle, who he described as a good friend in our meeting, out of bounds. Maybe Weddle might have been taking a little bit easy on him right there at the end of the play.
Carr said that him and Weddle were texting trash talk all week. Obviously played against each other when Weddle was with the Chargers twice a year, and Carr in the same division. Carr has good protection, checks it down to Lee Smith, and Smith to midfield. Just his 6th reception of the year, and a gain of 9 for the tight end out of Marshall.
That little pass that's just 1 yard down the field is such a great pass by Derek Carr, because the pocket is there, and then there's late pressure in his face, so he's trying to scan down the field for the big throw, and to know exactly where your outlet is when that pressure gets in your face, that's knowledge of your offense.
Raiders had a touchdown on their opening drive last week in Arizona. Good looking drive here to open up against Baltimore.
Here's a matchup they like, Jalen Richard outside.
Carr will hand it off to DeAndre Washington, and he picks up another Oakland first down, a gain of 3. Washington is a guy John Gruden said on Monday that deserves to play a little bit more. First 6 games of this season he was inactive, partly because of a knee injury. Also Was a healthy scratch for 3 of those games, but back in the mix, and he moves the chains for the Raiders. Carr, and he connects, but it's dropped by Marcell Ateman. Ateman had it and lost it, the rookie 7th-round pick out of Oklahoma State.
You just have to finish the easy plays. You can see Ateman takes his eyes off the ball before he tucks it firmly away. He's trying to head upfield because he knows that there's running room there. But you've got to do the little things. Catch that ball, tuck it away, then run up the field.
Ravens defense has done a great job in opening drives this year. Only 7 points allowed, tied for the fewest in the league. Meanwhile, that drop by Ateman, the 17th of the year by the Raiders, 5th most in the NFL. Carr to Washington out of the backfield. Spins away from one and is tackled a yard shy of a first down by Chris Wormley.
This drive that the Ravens started inside their own 20 is already a success, even if the Raiders don't put points on the board, because they have now shifted the field. They've also taken that energy buzz that we had Lamar Jackson is playing. I can't wait to see him on the field. Well, now you have to wait. And the Raiders, with a 3rd and short here, have a chance. It's going to be loud. So you've got to communicate to your guys on offense, especially that offensive line, with your Derek Carr.
Doug Martin, the running back. Keith Smith, the fullback, on 3rd down and 1.
10 guys up near the line of scrimmage.
Carr gives it to Martin, hit right by the line of scrimmage. And that will depend upon the spot.
You're 2-8. You're going up against a 5-5 team that's trying to edge their way into the playoffs. I'm going for it on 4th down if I'm John Gruden right here.
And it is 4th down, just short by Doug Martin, and he is keeping the offense on the field.
On the last play, they kind of packed everybody in. I mentioned the 10 guys at the line of scrimmage. Now you put your wide receivers in, and you make it look like there's a potential for a pass, and you move people out of the run lanes. 2 wide receivers there, another wide receiver up top.
Raiders just 3 for 11 on 4th downs this year, and Derek Carr does not like what he sees, and he calls timeout. So Carr will run over to his head coach and play caller, John Gruden. And they'll discuss this big 4th down coming up.
When I mentioned about going for it on 4th down, in your mind as the play caller, you make that decision on 3rd down. What do I have in store if it's 4th and short? What am I going to call next? I thought John Gruden was a little late getting players in. They substituted, they brought receivers in, and a little late in getting to the line of scrimmage when you're on the road.
The NFL league conversion rate on 4th downs this year is 62%. Can Oakland convert this one with Martin in at running back? Carr looking to throw. Comes back the other way to a wide open Smith. Jordy Nelson in front as a blocker. Smith tripped up inside the 10. It was Brandon Carr who may have saved the touchdown, but a 30-yard gain for Lee Smith, the longest catch of his career.
Lee Smith came into the game with 5 receptions for only 29 total yards. I think he might have even run out of breath at the end of this play. He had to run so far. Normally, a blocker, a primary blocker in the run game, he was lost. He was lost to the Ravens defense, snuck across the field. Great play call from the sideline.
Smith has not scored a touchdown in 3 years. He came up 7 yards short, but it's 1st and goal for Oakland. Play fake. Carr feeling the pressure. Chased out, rolling right. Fires so deep in the end zone, and he threw it away with Nelson, the closest receiver. Last 3 games in the red zone, the Raiders have scored touchdowns on just 1 of their 7 drives as Lamar Jackson continues to wait his turn on the Baltimore bench.
What makes it so tough to try and score touchdowns in the red zone is that free safety. Normally when you're out in the field of play, he's lined up 15, 16 yards deep. Now everybody's up right around the line of scrimmage. This is a tough team to run against and a tough team to find a passing lane. There's Eric Weddle, your deep safety, with his toes right on the goal line.
11th play of the drive. Carr hands it to Martin. Martin inside the 5, still going. Lunges for the end zone, and he is just short. Marked down inside the 1-yard line. Matthew Judon with the tackle. So 3rd and goal for the Raiders.
There are some teams that have that big quarterback that you just get behind and you have him vault over the top. Even in New Orleans, Drew Brees will take that snap, come back and pull and push that ball over the top. You're inches away. You don't really want to have to turn around and hand the ball off to a running back. You're the quarterback. You get these guys to push you in the back, and that's how you get across the line of scrimmage.
Carr hands it to Martin. Jumps. Did he get in? No signal yet. The ball came out late. Officials have not made a signal. They are discussing things in the end zone. Raiders think they scored. Ravens think they have a turnover.
Well, it's going to be an automatic review. It's either going to be a turnover review or a touchdown review. It just depends on what the first signal call is here, because that's kind of where you end up leaning.
Baltimore, which results in a touchdown.
So for now, it's a turnover by the Raiders at the 1-yard line, but it will be reviewed. Let's take another look.
You can see he leaves his feet. He's going up. He's getting close. He's getting close. That ball's over the end zone.
That's a touchdown. We'll come back in a moment.
After review, the running back broke the plane of the end zone with control of the ball. Therefore, it's a touchdown. Please set the game clock to 8:45.
Big fist pump from John Gruden, and Doug Martin has his first touchdown as a Raider.
Now, I saw Jim Plunkett in the elevator, but I did not see Marcus Allen. That's shades of Marcus Allen there, leaping over the top.
For Martin, his first touchdown since December 10th of last year when he was with Tampa Bay. He scored against the Lions. How about that drive by Oakland? 12 plays, 81 yards, took up over 6 minutes. And now here's Daniel Carlson for the extra point, and it's good. So on back-to-back weeks, the Raiders score a touchdown on their opening drive. We'll be back in 30 seconds after this from Walmart. Doug Martin has given Oakland a 7-0 lead on the Ravens as we go back to the touchdown one more time. Martin able to get in. A big play on that drive, the 4th down completion to Lee Smith. On that drive, Lee Smith had 2 catches for 39 yards. Those 39 yards more than he had the entire season coming into the game. So now Carlson will boot it away. He's got a big leg, the rookie out of Auburn. Since joining the Raiders, 11 of his 15 kickoffs have been touchbacks. Chris Moore is the deep man for Baltimore. And Moore will take this one out. Moore across the 20, trying to get to the outside. He does. And a nice return, shoved out of bounds by Kyle Wilber. So out comes Lamar Jackson. And there was a stat change during the week, so his number's a little different. Now it's 119 rushing yards instead of 117, and the 27 carries went down to 26. They took one of his plays and called it a sack. So Jackson was sacked 3 times now, but doesn't take away from the big performance he had in his first start. As we told you in our open, Alex Collins inactive with a foot injury. So it's Gus Edwards getting the football and across the 35 to the 37-yard line. A gain of 6 for the rookie out of Rutgers. There's a look at Marty Mornhinweg in his 3rd season as the Ravens offensive coordinator. Alex Lewis, his left guard, was questionable with a shoulder injury, but he is in the starting lineup today. Jackson looking to throw. Pressure coming. He steps up. He's in trouble and he's brought down. It's Nicholas Morrow with his first NFL sack.
Little bit of a mistake by Lamar Jackson here. He has all his receivers on the right side of the field, and when he scrambles to the left, there's no one to throw to. He could have just thrown that ball away past the line of scrimmage outside the pocket, and he would not have had to take the sack.
That's just the 10th sack of the season for the Raiders defense. Dead last in the NFL coming into the game, and now Jackson and the Ravens faced with 3rd and 8. Good protection. Jackson fires to Michael Crabtree for a first down. A former Raider with a 12-yard catch. Tahir Whitehead on the tackle.
Michael Crabtree is a very crafty receiver. You see him make a move outside, then comes back to the inside, and he makes sure that he works back friendly to the quarterback to make it an easy throw for Lamar Jackson.
So on the opening drive a week ago for Baltimore, 11 plays, all running plays. We've already seen Jackson drop back twice. This time he hands it off to Edwards across the 45, and Edwards tackled at the 47 by Jason Kabinda and P.J. Hall. A gain of 4 for Edwards.
When we look at this new wave of offenses, you talk about RPOs and all that, but it's really a spread offense where you try and spread the defense out. You take the extra defender out of the box, and you make now guys make decisions how they're going to defense the run. Who are they going to try and take away? Are they going to try and take away the running back, or are they going to take away the quarterback in the run reads?
Tight end Nick Boyle goes in motion. Here comes a flag and a false start against the Ravens.
False start. Offense, number 72. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
That goes on the left guard, Alex Lewis. His 3rd false start of the season.
So in the first set of 3 plays, you had a sack, which put him kind of behind the chains a little bit, so to speak. Now you have a false start. You take away the positive gain on 1st down, and now you're 2nd and 11.
Ravens 5th in the league in pre-snap penalties. Jackson over the middle to a wide-open John Brown. First down and more for Brown. Shoved out of bounds by Joseph at the 32, but the speedy John Brown picks up 25 yards.
You know, John Brown has his eyes on the quarterback, so he doesn't have eyes in the back of his head. You see that little hesitation? He didn't realize he was as wide open as what he was, running into a zone area, catches this ball, and then he takes off. You can see the little stutter move there to get away from Joseph.
His 8th catch this year of at least 25 yards. Brown a home run threat for the Ravens. Jackson rolling right, throws it incomplete in the direction of Hayden Hurst. Now, one of the things, we met with Lamar Jackson on Wednesday and we spoke with him, and he said he knows he can't run the ball as much as he did last week. Marty Mornhinweg echoed those thoughts as well. And Jackson even said, I'm probably going to slide a little bit more this week just so I don't have to hear about it so much.
Well, the thing that he did last week that I thought is on those 26 runs, he ran out of bounds about 6 or 7 times. He had one run where he dove forward, which he's used to doing in college football. You have to avoid as many hits as you can. That time he avoided a hit by throwing the ball away.
Gus Edwards stood up by Tahir Whitehead. A 3-yard pickup for Edwards. Mark Jackson reset the record books last week. 21 years old, youngest starting QB franchise history. The 26 carries, the most by an NFL quarterback since the merger, and 119 rushing yards, a franchise record by a Baltimore quarterback.
I saw him play twice during the preseason, in a Hall of Fame game and then against the Packers in the preseason. And the speed of the game was a little bit faster than what he had anticipated. And I think through the course of the regular season, just on scout team and a lot of work during the regular season games, he's getting used to the speed of the game.
On 3rd and 7, Jackson gets rid of it with pressure coming from behind, and Markel Lee got a hand on that one. So this Raiders defense holds on 3rd and 7, and John Harbaugh will send out his kicker, Justin Tucker, for a field goal attempt.
And that's the 2nd time Lamar Jackson has looked to throw once he moved in the pocket down the field, because we always think, oh, he's just going to take off and run. No, he's looking to complete a pass, to get the ball down to his receivers. So that's kind of in the back of his head, because he ran so much and there was so much commentary on it coming out of last week's ball game.
So here's Tucker for a 47-yard field goal attempt. There is a flag down. The kick is good. And now let's see what the flag is.
Well, the Raiders were lined up offside, so you don't take points off the scoreboard normally.
It was 4th and 7.
Offside. Defense, number 23, lined up in the neutral zone. That penalty is declined. Result of the play is a successful field goal. Timeout.
Penalty on Nick Nelson. And John Harbaugh keeps the points on the board. 7-3 Raiders here in the first quarter.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Progressive Insurance, handing off big savings to you. Garmin. Get a Garmin smartwatch and beat yesterday. And by McDonald's new Classic Meal Deal at participating McDonald's.
Great view of Baltimore from the top of the world observation level as Justin Tucker kicks it away after his 47-yard field goal was good, and it's a touchback for Tucker. This past Monday, the Ravens lent a helping hand to the Baltimore community as Thanksgiving approached. Tony Jefferson handed out turkeys to families at the Mount Zion Baptist Church. And later that night, the Ravens hosted their annual Thanksgiving dinner that served over 500 people in need this holiday season. 4:28 to go, opening quarter, drive number 2 for the Raiders. Their opening drive resulted in a Doug Martin touchdown run.
Hey, 57.
Carr throwing on first down, and Terrell Suggs nearly picked that one off. Ravens lead the NFL in batted passes. That's their 16th of the season.
Terrell Suggs is just a master at reading an offensive tackle. That short set by Colton Miller indicated, well, Derek Carr is going to get the ball out quickly. Even though they're not coming to cut me, I elevate, get my hands up, and it's a, ooh, I could have had that. Could have had it.
Empty backfield for Carr on 2nd and 10. Carr throwing left too high for Jalen Richard. NFL Today update with JB and Nate in New York.
Old guys can still get it done.
That's right. 39-year-old Josh McCown, younger of the 2 quarterbacks, proves age ain't nothing but a number. Actually, it is a number. 6. That's a touchdown. Jermaine Kearse, 16 yards. Jets lead 7-0.
Andrew, James, and Amanda.
All right, guys, you see the standings in the AFC East. Both teams coming off a bye last week, and now a timeout called by Baltimore before this 3rd down and 10. We'll take a timeout with them. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Ravens have had a tough time getting to the quarterback over the last 4 games. Can they get there here on 3rd and 10? Carr has time, looking deep for Aitman, and he let him too much. Coverage on the play by Marlon Humphrey. 4 straight incompletions for number 4, Derek Carr, and out comes the punter, Johnny Townsend.
Raiders on 3rd and 9 going for the big shot. They keep in a running back. They keep in the tight end, so you have 7-man protection. You're trying to load up and get a matchup, which they had, but just an overthrow by Derek Carr.
Cyrus Jones back deep to receive the punt from the rookie Townsend. He's had a very inconsistent year, and this is a short punt for Townsend. Jones catches it in stride with flags down. Jones into Raiders territory and dragged down inside the 40. If it stands, it's a 26-yard return for Cyrus Jones, who's 8th in the NFL in punt return average this year.
You always wonder why on the punt return team, if you've told them once, you've told them 100 times, if you can read their number, if you can read the name on the back of the jersey, don't push them in the back.
During the kick, illegal block in the back. Receiving team, number 36. 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
You saw it on that replay. Chuck Clark, the 2nd-year man out of Virginia Tech. And for more on how the Raiders prepared this week for Lamar Jackson. Let's check in with Amanda Balionis.
Andrew, the Raiders prepared by enlisting the help of scout team wide receiver Rico Gafford to play QB. Now, Gafford was a high school quarterback. He's now a wide receiver for them. He runs a 4.2, so the goal is to test the rush, make sure the defense is prepared to keep Lamar Jackson in the pocket and make him throw the ball.
Jackson in the pocket, throwing the ball here, and it's caught by Hayden Hurst. Rashawn Melvin on the coverage, a gain of 11. NFL Today update, JB and Nate.
Gronk finally.
That's right, he's back. Watch Gronk split the seam like a pair of tight pants. Takes a hit by Mo Claiborne and a 34-yard TD by Rob Gronkowski. They knocked the game up at 7.
Andrew, James, and Amanda.
Like a pair of tight pants.
First and 10 after the pickup by Hurst. And Jackson will keep it himself with a running lane on the right side. And Jackson to the 43-yard line. Just to follow up on Amanda's story of using the practice squad receiver Rico Gafford. I guess he's got a little bit better speed than A.J. McCarron, who usually would be the second team and scout quarterback.
And you want to be able to give your team that feel of the suddenness, because even, like you say, A.J. McCarron running it or Derek Carr running it doesn't come close to a player being able to step on the gas the way that Lamar Jackson can do.
Moving closer to Terrell Pryor's record, as you saw there. Pryor did that with the Raiders. Edwards, left side. He's got a Baltimore first down. Gain of 8 for Gus Edwards. Whitehead on the tackle.
That's really good job by the left side of the offensive line. You see Ronnie Staley, number 79, getting the hook block on the defensive end. That reach block, that step to the outside, that's what allowed the runner to turn the corner. Normally you see that runner turn the corner like that and you think, well, it must be holding there. No, not holding. That was great footwork by Ronnie Stanley, number 79.
Joe Flacco out for a second straight game with the right hip injury. First and 10. Jackson dropping back, now checks it down. It's Montgomery. Not much doing there for Ty Montgomery. Markel Lee on the tackle. 1-yard pickup for Jackson and the Ravens with 2 minutes to go in the opening quarter.
Play action pass. You're trying to take a deep shot to John Brown down the field. It's not there. And so what do you do as a quarterback? You check down to your check down receiver. You pick up a yard and a half. And that's still a positive gain on a play where you're trying to take a shot.
Jackson having trouble getting the play from the sideline. Runs over to Marty Mornhinweg and now races back into the huddle with just 5 on the play clock. And now Baltimore has to use a timeout.
That's their second timeout that they've used in the first quarter.
During the timeout, back to New York. NFL Today update with JB and Nate again.
Cleveland still hot.
That's right. I went golfing with James Lofton. When he wants to swing big, he grabs his Callaway, and so does Baker Mayfield. He hits Antonio Callaway to back of the end zone, 13-yard TD. They are pouring it on. Cleveland leads 14-0.
Andrew, isn't Nate just awesome?
Oh,
yeah, I haven't seen that Callaway that he's used in a while. He's more of a 3-iron guy off the tee, Nate.
Yeah, just trying to keep it in play now. You know, I hit that stinger, 280, 290 off the parking lot.
Well, Marty Mornhinweg told us that he was impressed with the way Jackson handled getting the play calls last week from Mornhinweg in his helmet. It's not something he did in Louisville. They used hand signals and the verbiage and calling plays in the huddle. This is all new territory for Lamar Jackson, something he's been working very hard on since training camp. Out of the timeout, 2nd and 9. They flip it to Moore. Moore trying to get around the edge, and good job by the Raiders defense. Whitehead pushes him out as we check in with Amanda Balionis.
Andrew, Lamar Jackson told us calling plays is the #1 thing he had to focus on to improve. He recites the plays to himself in the mirror. He calls them out loud in bed before he goes to sleep. And he said he also has to make sure his teammates understand what he's saying. When he first entered camp, he told us guys wouldn't understand what he was saying or he would mess up the play calling. So he really has to focus on being clear with his words even when he gets excited.
And Amanda, they used a lot of one-word plays last week to help him simplify calling the plays in the huddle. On 3rd and 8, Jackson, and that's incomplete. Brown could not hold on, a little bit behind him, and now on 4th down, out comes the punter, Sam Cook.
You know, when you have an easy throw, which is what this is, this quick slant, you've got to hit him right on the numbers, and you've got to throw it hard enough. He's trying to kind of touch that ball out there, threw it so softly it just ended up behind the receiver, John Brown.
Jacks with now 5 out of 8, and here's the first punt today for the veteran Sam Cook, now in his 13th season. Harris, the deep man for the Raiders. Cook. And that's a beauty inside the 10 and down there. 22nd punt this season inside the 20 for Cook. 6th best in the NFL.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Snickers. You're off your game when you're hungry. Eat a Snickers. And by the Spark Cash Card from Capital One.
Two years ago, unbelievable game here in Baltimore. Michael Crabtree had 3 touchdowns against the Ravens. Now, of course, a member of Baltimore in his first year. Oakland won that game 28-27. 3rd drive for the Raiders. This is their worst starting point so far. Field position continues to haunt Oakland this year, and Martin not much doing on 1st down. Michael Pierce, one of the guys in on the stop for the Ravens defense with 30 seconds to go in the first quarter. No huddle for Oakland. Carr firing deep for Roberts. What a catch on the sideline! A late flag comes in. Seth Roberts with a big play. A pickup of 34, but there's 2 flags down.
Yeah, they look like they've gotten Seth Roberts for getting a little bit of a push-off. That's why he was so wide open at the end of that play. But a great job by Derek Carr in taking advantage of the Ravens being in the neutral zone, but not having access to them, free access. See the little push-off right there? And then a second push-off. Maybe you get away with the first one, not the second one.
And Carr is under the assumption that the Ravens were in the neutral zone and that he had a free play. That was his argument to the official a moment ago. But a flag did not come out on the snap.
If they got back, but they were still frozen at the line of scrimmage. But it's undeniable, the 2 push-offs by Seth Roberts. There's a look. They're close. They don't cross.
There are 2 fouls on the play by the offense. After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 31. That penalty is declined. Pass interference, offense number 10. Penalty will be enforced half the distance to the goal. We'll replay the down.
First penalty, they said 31. That's Marcus Gilchrist. He's on defense for Oakland, so that penalty's not correct. But the offensive pass interference we showed you does go against Roberts. So that wipes out a 34-yard pass play.
The Raiders are still looking around for number 31 in the huddle.
Yeah.
He doesn't play offense.
Clock is now running, and that will take us to the end of the first quarter. Great crowd on hand in Baltimore and a beautiful day. We're through 1, Raiders 7, Ravens 3 on CBS. Tonight on CBS, a helping hand is Heaven Sent in a new episode of God Friended Me. Tonight after 60 minutes, only CBS. Start of the second quarter in Baltimore. And following the penalty on Roberts, it's 2nd down and 14 for the Raiders inside their own 5-yard line. Carr from his own end zone to Martin out of the backfield, and Martin cannot escape Chuck Clark. And it brings up 3rd down and long.
When we were with the Raiders about a month ago, they were about to play the Indianapolis Colts. And Jordy Nelson made the comment about this offense being similar to Green Bay's. And he said this West Coast offense is about completions. Now, you know, every offense is about completions. But there you see it right there with Derek Carr, not having to throw down the field, getting the ball to the running back immediately to try and avoid these sacks that have been piling up on him over the last 3 ball games.
Carr to Aitman. Can he get to the chains? Yes, he can. The rookie using his 6'4" frame to pick up the first down. Jimmy Smith had the coverage, pickup of 11 for Aitman.
Jimmy Smith ends up on the ground at the tail end of this play. I was down on the field before the game, and the field is very tight, very compacted, but it is a little bit slick.
John Gruden told us that Aitman going against Patrick Peterson last week and having success was a big boost for the 7th-round rookie. Carr, here comes the pressure, looking for Roberts, and throws it over his head. For the most part, so far in this game, Carr has had time. Has not been sacked yet. In the last 5 games coming in, Carr sacked 21 times. That's 17% of his career total in the last 5 games. Second down and 10. This is Jordy Nelson. He does not have the speed to get to the edge, shoved out by Owasso. Loss of 2 for Nelson.
You've got to have some deception going here, and when that quarterback has the ball standing in the middle, you're watching the ball, and there's not enough flow that starts to the right for this reverse to be successful. And like you say, Jordy Nelson, who was a high school sprint champion growing up in Kansas, maybe doesn't have the speed to really burn around the corner anymore.
At the age of 33. 3rd and 12, pressure coming. Carr to Aitman. Great adjustment by the rookie, but he does not control the football. He thought he had it. Aitman pleading his case, but it's 4th down.
Nice tight coverage by Anthony Everett. You see, gets a second jam in there and does a great job turning for the ball. The ball slips past him, but he's pinned Aitman all the way to the boundary. Doesn't have any room to come down inbounds.
Very close. John Gruden is throwing the challenge flag. He wants the officials to take another look at that play by Aitman.
Former quarterback, Gruden really stepped into that throw.
He's 2 for 3 on challenges this year. This is the look right here. I think that's a catch. Oh, no, he did not control the football.
Oakland is challenging the ruling on the field of an incomplete pass. That play will now be under review.
I'll take a look, but it looks like he did not control the football. John Gruden lost that challenge, so it is 4th down, and his punter, Johnny Townsend, is out. We showed you that replay going to break. Aitman did not control the ball going to the ground. Jones, the return man for the Ravens. Good punt by Townsend to the 30. Jones head of steam to midfield. Jones with blockers down the sideline. Jones inside the 20, and he will go! Touchdown, Baltimore! A 70-yard return! His first career punt return touchdown. And they'll pose as the Ravens have their first lead of the day.
Sometimes you have a running back who's untouched going in. Now you get a punt returner who's untouched, very close to the boundary there, but he does a nice job in tight roping down that boundary. But a great job by the other 10 players blocking and not blocking anybody in the back.
One more look at Jones. Keeping the feet in.
That's the advantage of wearing a 9.5 and not a 13.
Bounce back and forth between the Patriots and Ravens this year. Was claimed off waivers from New England on October 8th. as John Harbaugh and Jerry Rosberg, the special teams coach, were not happy what they had in the return game over the first month of the season. They thought Jones would solidify that, and he has delivered in a big way right here. 12:45 to go, first half. Jones, 70 yards to the house.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Corona Extra. Find your beach. United States Air Force. Experience more at airforce.com. And by Hyundai, official sponsor of the NFL.
Christmas Village in Baltimore had their opening ceremonies yesterday, right down here in the Inner Harbor. And it's a returnable punt for Harris. Harris trying to answer, and a nice return across the 30 as we go back to the punt return touchdown by Cyrus Jones.
It was like an early Christmas for Cyrus Jones, because watch the presents that he gets. That flyer's taken care of, that flyer's taken care of, and there is a free path to the end zone.
First special teams touchdown of the season for the Ravens. And how about Levine on Harris right there? That could have been a hold, but it wasn't called. It's a touchdown for Baltimore. They now lead it by 3. Last 9 plays for Oakland have gained 9 yards. Martin gets a couple there. And for Derek Carr, he started 4 of 5, but since then he's 2 for his last 8.
We talked about all the categories that were top level for the Ravens: the run defense, the pass defense, the scoring defense. The only thing that they have not done exceptionally well is take the ball away. And you don't want to be too greedy, because you want to play your assignment first if you're the Ravens.
On second down, Carr, good protection, finds Martin, he bobbles it, holds on, and has a first down. So Doug Martin, who did not play in the second half last week in Arizona because of an ankle injury, has been a big part of the Raiders' offense here in the first half.
You know, you're going to use these running backs, and that's really, they run the ball, they catch the ball. Rashad is the leading receiver in the team. The tight end's the second leading receiver. So the passing game really is a lot of passing game in between the numbers, and you want guys who are going to be open, tight ends, running back, turn around backfield. They're always going to be a little more open.
Carr checks it down to Richard, and Brandon Carr the first to meet him. So Darius Smith finishes him off. Jalen Richard came into the game 5th among running backs in the NFL in catches. He leads the team. That was his 52nd reception of the year.
It's pretty easy to see. One thing that John Gruden wants to do is make sure that his quarterback can get the ball out of his hands quickly when you only have 5 people blocking for him. If you're going to block more, 6, 7, then you're going to load it up and try and throw down the field.
They lost 1 on that play. It's 2nd and 11 with DeAndre Washington in the backfield now. Carr, plenty of time, taking a deep shot for Jordy Nelson, incomplete. And it was Brandon Carr who had the coverage. Carr playing a lot more in the slot today because Tavon Young, their normal nickel corner, is out with a groin injury.
And Carr has done a nice job in throwing this ball away from the defense to where his guy can get it, but the separation is not there for Jordy Nelson. And pretty rare for Jordy Nelson to go up against somebody who's about the same age that he is going up against Carr.
Carr is only a year younger than Jordy Nelson. He's 32. Nelson 33. It's 3rd and 11. Ravens bringing pressure. Carr steps up, throws, and it's broken up. Big defensive play by Marlon Humphrey, and it's 4th down.
When you sit around and you look at the Raven defense, you go, well, Brandon Carr, he's a really good corner. Jimmy Smith, he was a first-round pick. Not that you forget about Marlon Humphrey, but he's so quiet, just makes plays, first-round pick, and you can see the ability there to track the receiver and then to really work his way in there, get that hand in, knock the ball away. all the little things that you would put on an instructional tape.
Jones, who took 170 yards for a touchdown, calls for a fair catch at the 12-yard line. A 44-yard punt by Townsend. You're watching the NFL on CBS. It's just the 8th time in Joe Flacco's career that he has missed a start, inactive for the 2nd straight game with a right hip injury. Lamar Jackson back. He is 5 of 8 so far for 48 yards passing and just 1 carry for 5 yards. Hands this one off to Edwards. And it's Rashaan Melvin on the tackle, but not before Edwards picks up 5. How about Lamar so far today?
Well, he's had some plays where he's had success. He's been able to throw the ball down the field. Some of the running is there. But I like what John Harbaugh told us, that when he looked at him last week, when he came off the field, it was never too big for him. He was just Lamar. He was relaxed and not a great start this week like it was last week. He's still Lamar.
Looking to throw. Taking a deep shot for the tight end, Andrews. He's got him. It's a foot race. Andrews at the 20, still on his feet and dragged down by Melvin. A 74-yard pickup for Mark Andrews.
In the pocket, you see the nice little swim move that he has, and it's communication. You've got deep third, even though that was a tight end, you've got deep third if you're the defender. Now the tough thing for the Ravens is you only have 40 seconds once this play ends to get down there, get in the huddle, get guys moving. It takes some of these offensive linemen about 25 seconds to jog from one end to the other. Yeah. And remember, you only have 1 timeout. You've already used 2.
Play clock at 2. I don't think the Ravens are aware. It's at 0, and there's the flag. Great point, James Lofton. Always tough to get set after those big plays.
Offense number 8, 5-yard penalty, first down.
You know, Lamar Jackson's pointing at himself, but that's the entire offense. That's one of the things that occasionally you need to practice at practice. When you're on one end of the field, we have a long completion the other end, you've got to get these linemen, let's go. And you've almost got to have a play call ready before you get to the line of scrimmage, even in the huddle.
1st and goal from the 12-yard line. Edwards tripped up. Arden Key, one of the first to get there for the Raiders. Now, Lamar Jackson told us, said it all week to the media, we're going to throw more. And that was a big play in the passing game, longest play of the season for the Ravens. Previously, it was a John Brown 71-yard reception. Edwards next to Jackson. 2nd down and goal. Jackson looking to throw again into the end zone, incomplete. John Brown, the intended target. Carl Joseph was closing quickly.
I think John Brown saw more of Carl Joseph than he did the ball. Great blitz pickup. Because that ball's there and the arms aren't extended maybe as far as he normally could. If he's going in for suit measurements, they'd say extra short right there.
So it's 3rd down and goal. Crabtree at the top of your screen. Always a red zone threat, as Raider fans know. Jackson, there's Crabtree. Makes the catch at the 10. But doesn't get any further than that. Great job by this Raiders defense to limit Baltimore to a field goal attempt. It was Rashaan Melvin who had the tackle.
And the Raiders get an assist there from the play clock because the Ravens, not being willing to use their last timeout of the half, force themselves back, makes it tougher to get into the red zone, and hats off to the Raiders.
So this will be a 28-yard attempt for Justin Tucker. He's made 34 in a row from inside 40 yards. And the kick is good. So a 74-yard pass play from Jackson to Andrews only results in 3 for the Ravens. We'll be back in 30 seconds after this from Lowe's. Lamar Jackson, after that big pass play, now has 125 yards through the air and just 5 yards on the ground. Baltimore has scored 13 unanswered points, and they lead by 6 with 7:11 to go in the second quarter. Beautiful day here in Charm City with the Hall of Famer James Lofton, Amanda Balionis down on the sidelines, our entire crew. I'm Andrew Catalan. We thank you for joining us. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. As we celebrate CBS's Super Bowl season, we take a look back at some Super Bowl memories. Oakland and Tampa Bay in Super Bowl 37. Bucks ran away with it, winning 48-21. John Gruden was in his first season with Tampa Bay and defeated his former and future team. CBS, the proud home of Super Bowl 53 this season. The game is on February 3rd in Atlanta. And for all you Raider fans unhappy, our producer today is Steve McKee. He elected to show that as our Super Bowl highlight. On first down, Doug Martin with some room to run, and a first down pickup for Doug Martin. 12-yard gain for Martin. And now an injured Raven. It's Tony Jefferson, who's face down in front of the Raiders sideline, now up on his feet, but Jefferson clearly in some pain.
Didn't see anything special that happened, but the lead block right there by the fullback. He got his leg twisted. There he is, getting rolled up right at the end of the play.
Jefferson second on the team in tackles in his second season with the Ravens. Impact player on this Baltimore defense. And he will hobble back toward the Baltimore sideline. Ravens without Tavon Young, their nickel corner today. And yesterday they made a roster move, adding Maurice Kennedy off IR. He injured his knee week 1. Went on IR, but they designated him to return, and they activated him yesterday.
You know, it kind of throws your defense off just a little bit, because between Eric Weddle and Tony Jefferson, you've got a lot of experience. You've got guys who are used to moving around, to deceiving the offense a little bit. So now that onus, it's tougher. You bring in Chuck Clark, number 36, and he's got to be the guy who is going to be up and then back and move and do all those things that Tony Jefferson did so instinctively.
First down and 10 after the run by Martin, and the Raiders go right back to Doug Martin across the 40, and he gets 4 more yards. Eric Weddle on the tackle as we approach 6.5 to go in the second quarter. Ravens training staff attending to Tony Jefferson. And as we told you, Clark, his replacement now at strong safety. Second down and 6. Carr, protection's been good all day, but nowhere to go. The coverage even better on this play. Now Carr to Aitman, and he could not get there. Carr just overthrows Aitman, and it's third down.
Every good pass play starts with the protection up front, so you get that wall working. There's going to be coverage in the back end, because Derek Carr, once he drops back, takes his 7-step drop, he looks to the right. Then he comes back, he has to move to the left. And there's Aitman moving toward the open area, just overthrows him by a little bit.
Raiders hustle to the line. Now Carr directing traffic for 3rd and 6. Ball at the 41. Pressure coming. Carr throws it away. Matthew Judon was bearing down on Carr. No team in the NFL blitzes more on 3rd down than the Baltimore Ravens. They brought the pressure there, and it was a success.
And when you can come right up the middle, you force the quarterback off his spot. You don't give him a chance to escape the pocket. And there's nothing that Derek Carr can do other than throw the ball away.
Punt number 4 of the first half for Johnny Townsend, with Jones back deep at his own 12. This is returnable for Jones. Jones is forced out of bounds at the 30. We'll be back in 30 seconds after this from Lowe's. 5:47 to go, second quarter. Lamar Jackson and the Ravens lead it by 6. And they'll start this drive at their own 30-yard line with one timeout to work with the rest of the half. Jackson, empty backfield, out of the shotgun, rolling right. Will he keep it himself? He decides just to throw it away. Injury update, here's Amanda Balionis.
Update on Ravens Tony Jefferson. It's a left ankle injury. He is questionable to return.
All right, Amanda, thank you very much. And James, that was another case. We've seen it a few times today when Jackson could have run the ball. Instead, not trying to take the extra hit, just throws it away. Artie Morningweg told us there was 2 hits in particular last week against Cincinnati. He really doesn't want Jackson to expose himself to. That pass is incomplete, intended for John Brown. Whitehead had the coverage, and now it's quickly 3rd and 10.
And I think when you go totally empty, like the Ravens did, last week we saw Lamar Jackson do that in the first series, and he had a long 21-yard run as a quarterback draw. And like you said, Andrew, he's been a little reluctant to run the ball once he's escaped the pocket. Now it puts him in a 3rd and 10, and it's almost an obvious passing situation. Everybody's standing up, trying to disguise who's coming and who's not coming.
Jackson fires over the middle, deflected twice, and picked off. Reggie Nelson, the interception. His 2nd of the season. For Nelson, his 38th career interception.
3-man pass rush. That means when you're throwing into zone coverage, you're going to have extra defenders. And the underneath coverage by Nick Nelson, he pats that ball up like it's volleyball, and then it's just who can get it. Eric Harris rather than Nick. I'm giving it to the wrong guy, Eric Harris.
So deflected twice into the hands of Reggie Nelson, now in his 12th year out of Florida. And the Raiders take over with great field position. This is just the 5th time all year the Raiders have started a drive in opponent territory.
Might be a little bit of Terrell Suggs time right there.
Doug Martin has a running lane. And with that carry, Doug Martin has now just gone to 5,000 rushing yards in his career, the 12th active player to reach that milestone. And good news for Baltimore as Tony Jefferson is back on the field.
And if I can get Jared Cook to match up against Tony Jefferson, I'm going to try and test that ankle and see how healthy it is.
2nd down and 5. And a flag. False start against Oakland.
False start. Offense, number 77. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
3rd false start this year against the rookie Colton Miller.
We measure sacks for great defenders. You get interceptions. We need a way to measure false starts. How many times do you make that guy lined up against you flinch? And Terrell Suggs has probably done that, I would say maybe 2-3 times, at least in his career, maybe.
And we met with Colt Miller. He said Terrell Suggs is a different cat. Suggs was working in there. Carr running and throws. It's dropped by Jared Cook. That was one of the times we saw Suggs really taking it to Colton Miller, and Carr had to get rid of it.
And it was interesting because we asked Carr about this play that just happened. When can you feel that pressure coming from your backside? Because you're focused down the field. It's not like that eye can look all the way over to your back. He said it's just instinctive. You know when it's coming, and you know when to get away from it. That time he got out of the pocket. So 3rd down coming up for him.
5 straight incompletions for Carr, and a timeout by the Ravens as they had a man running off the field late. That's the final timeout of the half for Baltimore. Coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, join JB, Phil, Nate, Boomer, and Coach Cower. All the latest NFL scores and highlights coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. First time that John Harbaugh has gone head-to-head as a head coach with John Gruden. But in 2012, the Ravens opened up on Monday Night Football against the Bengals. Gruden was a part of the broadcast booth. His brother was the offensive coordinator for Cincinnati, and Harbaugh wouldn't allow Gruden into the Ravens facility to do the production meeting. And as Gruden was asked about that this week, he said, you know what, it's probably the right move. Ravens won the game.
You are on the outline of field goal position here. You probably need to get around the 35-yard line if you want to kick a field goal.
3rd and 10. Carr, quick pass. It's Cook, the tight end, and Cook turns it upfield for a first down. Good block by Jordy Nelson, a gain of 16.
You used to hear the West Coast offense termed short pass, long run. This is a short pass and a nice run up the field, and Mosley wasn't happy, but Jared Cook's happy about it.
31st catch this season that's gone for a first down for Jared Cook. And the drive continues after the Lamar Jackson interception. Carr, nowhere to go, and throws it away. Warmly got a hand on it. Tell you what, James, for the most part, this Raiders offensive line has done a terrific job of protecting Carr in the first half.
Well, and they've done it, not just the 5 up front. Tony Jefferson is down at an ankle. It's probably given him, you know, as tough as he is, tried to come back, play on it. I saw him limping around last play, and he realizes that probably better to stay down, get out, and get somebody on there who's healthy.
Jefferson in his 6th year out of Oklahoma. Began his career with the Arizona Cardinals before signing with the Ravens 2 years ago.
You know, it was interesting. We had this conversation with John Gruden about players who tell you that they can go when they can't go. And you trust the player to get out there, especially when somebody is as tough as Tony Jefferson. I know I'm talking about a coach and then a player who's on the other team. It's probably the same way with John Harbaugh. When Tony Jefferson said, I can go and I can get back out there, they allowed him to do it. He was out there for a couple of plays. He realized he couldn't do it, and he sat down so he could take himself out of the game.
Ravens do not have a lot of depth at that safety position. As we told you, it's Chuck Clark, and he's back into the huddle defensively. With 3:44 to go, first half, 2nd down and 10 for Oakland.
And there is Chuck Clark matched up against Jared Cook, really the Raiders' top receiver.
Let's see if Carr goes that way. Looking that way, throwing that way for Cook, and Cook makes the catch. There is a flag down. Clark thinks it's offensive pass interference. Is he right?
Pass interference, offense, number 87, 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
When you are as big and as physical as Jared Clark, you don't really need to push off. You just need to get your body close enough to him, lean into him, and then elevate for the ball.
Cook has 50 pounds on Chuck Clark. So that wipes out a big play inside the 10-yard line. 2nd and 20. Clock is running. 3.5 to go. Martin up the middle. Martin inside the 30. Knocks over Weddle, and a big run for Doug Martin. 15 more yards for the 7th-year running back out of Boise State.
You know, we talk about run-pass options, and that's kind of what this play is. You can see the wide receiver down the field. The ball could have been thrown to him, but a nice job by Carr handing it off. And then the low man normally wins, and that time the low man was the runner.
So it's 3rd and 6. Raiders in field goal range. Carr. And that pass is broken up. Humphrey got a hand on it. Intended for Aitman, who has been a popular target today for Carr. And John Gruden will send out his rookie kicker, Daniel Carlson.
That's tight, aggressive coverage, running step for step with him. Yeah, a little hand fighting, maybe a little bit of a tug, but not enough to draw the flag.
This entire field goal operation is rookies. Carlson, the kicker, Townsend, the holder, Trent Sieg, the snapper. All three are rookies. A 42-yard attempt, and Carlson right down the middle is good. With 2:34 to go, it's now a 3-point game here in Baltimore. So the interception by Nelson leads to 3 points, and Lamar Jackson will get to go back out there, but the Ravens are out of timeouts. Just have the 2-minute warning to stop the clock. Saturday at 4 Eastern, the SEC Championship on CBS features #1 Alabama against 5th-ranked Georgia. It's a rematch of last year's national championship. Kick off your day with the drive to Atlanta beginning at 2:30 Eastern, followed by college football today right here on CBS. Ozzie Newsome in his final year as Ravens general manager. 6 Alabama players on his roster. He's gone to the well with the Crimson Tide early and often. And next year, it'll be the assistant GM, Eric DeCosta, taking over as general manager. Carr in the first half, 9 out of 23 for 97 yards. His team trails by 3. It's a touchback for Carlson. And now we'll see how aggressive the Ravens are with no timeouts, and Lamar Jackson coming off the interception. Now last week when he threw an interception against Cincinnati, came right back on the next drive to lead Baltimore to a touchdown.
If I am the Raiders, what I want to do defensively, I want to test Lamar Jackson and make him throw into zone coverage. Man-to-man, you get a matchup where somebody just gets beaten or they get slipped, but you want to make him go against zone coverage.
They hand it off on first down to Gus Edwards, and he's still going. Now the big rookie out to the 44-yard line, a gain of 19.
And that's an excellent way to start this 2-minute drive. You don't have to worry about hurrying up too much. You can get one play run right here before the 2-minute warning. Jackson
Down the sideline, and it is incomplete. Crabtree, the intended target. Arion Conley had the coverage. Clock stop with 2:07 to go.
You know, I'm wondering if the sun's in Crabtree's eyes a little bit going in this direction. He makes a really good attempt to kind of climb over the defender's back. That ball has to be thrown nice and high for Crabtree to go up and get it and stop.
What'd you do when the sun was in your eyes as a receiver?
Put on a lot of eye black in my sunglasses.
It's Edwards again up the middle into Oakland territory and stopped at the 49-yard line as we've hit the 2-minute warning. Ravens driving, they lead by 3.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Walmart. Light up Christmas at Walmart. And by Subway. Make it what you want.
Just a picture-perfect day for football here in Baltimore. Temperature mid-50s, plenty of sunshine. 2 minutes to go in the opening half. How about Lamar Jackson? 26 carries last week, only 1 in the first half today. It's a 3rd down and 3. Jackson, here's run number 2. Will he get the first down? Angling for the sideline, and he's got it. So Lamar Jackson moves the chains.
Boy, nice job by Nick Boyle, number 86 on the outside, to help seal that edge. And Lamar Jackson, remember he didn't run the 40 at the combine? I think he wanted to keep the entire league in suspense as to actually how fast he is. Because if he goes out there and he runs 4.3 something, everybody goes, oh no, he can run 4.3. Nobody really knows until you play against him and you go, faster than what we thought.
Jackson, quick pass to Montgomery. And Montgomery turns it in. and tackled at the 37-yard line. Don't forget, Verizon halftime report coming up with our guys back in New York. Scores and highlights week 12 around the NFL. Remember, the Ravens cannot stop the clock. No timeouts remaining here in the first half.
And they just had a late substitution. They took Montgomery out, Snead in late.
Jackson to the tight end. It's Boyle for a Baltimore first down. Marcus Gilchrist on the tackle, but Boyle gains 9.
I'm not super worried about the time. If you were, you could spike it, but you feel comfortable, take your shot at the end zone right here.
Jackson taking a shot down the sideline, and it's broken up by Conley, and off the deflection, is that a pick? Gilchrist was down there, and it is intercepted by Marcus Gilchrist. What a play by the Raiders.
We saw it on the last deep pass to Crabtree. He doesn't have the speed to really run away from the defender, and then he gets pinned all the way up against the sideline, so there's really no room for Lamar Jackson to drop the ball in.
Garyon Conley knocked it up in the air, and Gilchrist, heads up play, feet just get down for his second interception of the season. And the second interception of the half thrown by Lamar Jackson, both off deflected footballs. So now the Raiders get the football back at their own 20 with one timeout. Carr with pressure coming. It's a screen to nobody. And Carr, first time he's taken a hit in the half and a little slow to get up now.
And they're going to check him. He's telling the official that he's okay, but when he got up, and maybe he's trying to tell them that I was hit, pushed down late, he's going off the field. You're going to have to bring your backup quarterback on while he's evaluated by the Raiders medical staff. A.J. McCarron, he's got to get the cape off. He's got to get that arm warmed up a little bit. A couple of throws going on here.
So that's the official stopping play and forcing Carr to be evaluated for a concussion in the medical tent. That guy with the red hat that just walked in there is an unaffiliated neurotrauma consultant, and he will now evaluate Carr. McCarron comes into the game.
Well, what it does, it takes you from attempting to get something going in this 2-minute drill to now, I would say, probably taking a knee in victory formation and just getting out of this first half and getting into the locker room.
And that's what they will do. That hit on Carr was by Brandon Carr of the Ravens. And Baltimore cannot stop the clock as Carr continues to be evaluated in the blue medical tent. Baltimore will receive the second half kickoff as they won the coin toss and elected to defer. One more knee for McCarron, and we've hit the half, and Carr is out of the tent. Obviously a good sign. We'll have Amanda Balionis follow up on that, but looks to be okay. Big play of that first half was the 70-yard punt return for a touchdown by Cyrus Jones of the Ravens. And Baltimore, in a battle for that final playoff spot in the AFC, goes into the locker room with a 13-10 halftime lead. Halftime is next after these first half highlights from Verizon and a word from your local station. Derek Carr has cleared concussion protocol. He will be able to play here in the second half for the Raiders. They trail by 3 with the Hall of Famer James Lofton. I'm Andrew Catalon. We'll hear from Amanda Balionis coming up. But James, in that first half, Lamar Jackson only ran the ball twice. Right. Do you expect him to carry it a little bit more in the second?
You know, you always hear about halftime adjustments. I think you make halftime decisions. You decide, we're going to run the ball. We're going to call more quarterback-specific runs for him and let him show his real talents.
All right, let's take a look at the gain of the first half. And it was the punt return. Johnny Townsend punting to Cyrus Jones. And Jones goes 70 yards for his first career punt return touchdown.
I remember thinking they were going to get good field position. Field position in the end zone is always really, really good.
A look at the quarterback comparison. And both quarterbacks throwing a number of incompletions in that first half. The 2 interceptions by Jackson, both off deflected footballs. Baltimore will get the football first to start the second half as they try to keep pace in the tight AFC playoff chase. One of 5 teams starting the day with a 5-5 record. It's a touchback for Carlson. As we go down to Amanda Balionis.
Well, it sounds like James was reading Coach Harbaugh's mind because it's exactly what he told me. He said expect Lamar Jackson to run the ball more as well as this entire offense. And he also said we need to make the Raiders more one-dimensional. Now, when I spoke to Coach Gruden, he said, hey, I'm not totally unhappy with this offense. We're playing a really good defense. He said, but I am unhappy with some of the officiating. He said, I think there were a couple of interference calls that were missed while we were on offense. And I asked him, are you surprised about Lamar Jackson? He goes, nothing surprises me about that young man.
In that first half, the Ravens ran it 10 times, threw it 19 times, and they begin the second half on the ground with Gus Edwards, Maurice Hurst on the tackle.
We talked to Paul Guenther, the defensive coordinator for the Raiders, and he said we are going to treat Lamar Jackson like a running back. So if they are planning to run the ball, he is going to get hit like a runner. You are not afforded that protection when you're doing that mesh handoff in the pocket. So they're going to come after him if he decides to run the ball.
94. 180.
Ricard in at fullback on 2nd and 5. It's a play fake. Jackson trying to get around the edge. Flicks one to Hurst for a first down. Wow, that was a little improvising there by Lamar Jackson. It goes for a 10-yard gain.
Carl Joseph, the safety, was up. He wanted to get that hit on Lamar Jackson. He's going, wait a minute, he just flicked the ball right past me. We hadn't seen that on film. So it's kind of all new. Every time you're coming after him, you're committed to trying to chase him down. And then to do something like that was comparable to Patrick Mahomes in the left-handed pass.
It's Edwards up the middle, finds some room, and Gus Edwards adds 9 more yards to his total.
You see a couple of the linemen going for seconds. We want to eat some more. Let us run the ball. Let us get physical with this line. And that's what they did so well last week. Over 250 yards rushing. They want to get back to that. They want to feel that identity.
Keeping it on the ground, Edwards has enough for a Baltimore first down. Again, if you're just joining us, no Alex Collins today. He's out with a foot injury for Baltimore. Only 2 Ravens have carried the football. Gus Edwards and Lamar Jackson. And now Maurice Hurst is slow to get up for the Raiders. Rookie out of Michigan. Not a good weekend for the Wolverines, and that includes John Harbaugh's brother, Jim, the head coach of Michigan, as Ohio State was all over the Wolverines yesterday. Hurst has 4 sacks in his rookie season, a 5th-round pick. So ball spotted at midfield, first down and 10. Jackson to Edwards. Edwards hits that hole hard. That's what John Harbaugh says about a north-south runner. And Harbaugh said that he could tell in practice when Edwards was on the practice squad and he was the scout team running back, that his first team defense did not want to wrap up Gus Edwards. That's his running style. He's not a fun guy to try to bring down at 6'1", 238.
And the Ravens are going to a little bit of their heavy formation with Patrick Ricard in number 42, who's a tight end / defensive lineman.
Jackson rolling out, has time. Now he'll keep it himself. And he dives down a couple of yards shy of a first. Tahir Whitehead, closest man there for the Raiders.
Trying to get the deep shot way down the field to Chris Moore, number 10. It's not there. You pull the ball down, you tuck it away, make a couple of big guys look a little foolish out in the open field.
Third down and 2 for Marty Mornhinweg and the Ravens offense. They are 2 for 6 on third downs today. Jackson hands it off. Edwards has the first down, but a big hit. That was Carl Joseph, who he's listed at 5'10", 205, but when we talk with him, he says, in my mind, I feel like I'm 6'5", 230. And James, he hits like he's 6'5", 230.
And it's just the leverage. He's running through the running back. Not just to him, you're trying to run through him.
Paul Gunther says Joseph brings some juice to the Raiders defense. The drive continues, 8th play of the drive. And again on the ground, Edwards, nice cutback. And he's tackled right at the chains. Nick Nelson and Whitehead on the tackle.
Great job on the outside. You're going to see him come into the screen late. But down the field, Willie Snead is blocking that slot corner, the guy who was really responsible for that outside run. Nice job by the wide receivers making their presence felt, even though they're not catching a lot of passes today.
This is the 9th play of the drive. There's been only one pass, and it was the shovel from Jackson to Hayden Hurst. Back on the ground, this is Javaris Allen, his first carry today. And it's enough for a Baltimore first down. Well, John Harbaugh said it. We want to run the ball a little bit more, and with the exception of one play, it's been all runs on this drive for the Ravens. Darryl Worley injured behind the play, the third-year corner out of West Virginia. And he needs some assistance coming off.
You know, not a huge issue in terms of coverage, because what this game is boiled down to early in the third quarter here is the Ravens are going to play this in a phone booth. And you always hear that terminology. But when you watch the line of scrimmage, look where the defenders are. There is no one, only one player more than 5 yards away from the line of scrimmage.
First and 10, Jackson keeps it himself, trying to get to the outside, and Jackson, most running we've seen out of Lamar so far today. That's what Eric Weddle was saying earlier this week. I thought he made a great point. We drafted him because he was a successful running quarterback in college. Why are we trying to change that right now? This is what he's good at. Let him do it. Again, I understand you got to watch. You don't want him to get hurt, but those are the types of plays that Jackson can make. But lost the football there, and Jackson just gets it back. Nicholas Morrow almost fell on it. It was on the exchange with Gus Edwards.
Whenever you have an option offense where the option is to hand it off or not hand it off, the running back is not supposed to pull the ball away from the quarterback. He's supposed to allow that quarterback to let go of the ball and look like there was a little, no, it's my ball, no, it's my ball, no, it's my ball, and the ball ended up on the ground.
So now it's 3rd down and 3 from the 20. Edwards it's Montgomery who's got the first down to the 6. Ty Montgomery's first carry today, and it goes for 15 yards.
That's a great job just getting around the corner quickly, but really it's the ability of Lamar Jackson to run the ball that sucks in the entire defense. All eyes are on Jackson. They're not watching Ty Montgomery run around the corner.
First and goal for Baltimore from the 5. 13th play of the drive. Jackson fakes it, running left. Can he get in the end zone? He can! Touchdown! A 5-yard touchdown run for Lamar Jackson. His second rushing touchdown of the year.
Body on body, that's what you want when you're looking at the offensive line, blocking guys. And really, there's not anyone who's there to confront Lamar Jackson until he gets to the goal line.
That drive looked like the Ravens offense last week. It's not something you saw a lot of in the first half, but the halftime adjustment, as Amanda told us, it's clear. They want to run the football more. They did it on that drive with the exception of one play. And Jackson caps it off with the touchdown. Their league-leading 26th drive of at least 10 plays. Lamar Jackson and the Ravens had 6 first downs on that touchdown drive. They had 8 first downs the entire first half. And all but one play of that 13-play drive was through the air as the Ravens recommitted to the run. 13 plays, 75 yards, and now a 10-point lead. And Derek Carr, who had to leave the game late in the first half to be checked for a concussion, as we told you to start the half, has been cleared, and he's in there. 1st and 10 from the 25. See if the Raiders can answer right back with 8:10 to go in the third quarter. Doug Martin on first down, and Martin gets a couple. Carr started 4 out of 5. Since then, he's 5 for his last 19. Chuck Clark is at safety. That's because Tony Jefferson has now been ruled out for the rest of the game with an ankle injury. Carr with pressure coming, holds on to it. Deep shot for Roberts. He's got it! Roberts makes the big play! That was a great job by Carr to hang tough in the pocket, and then Roberts with a 44-yard pickup.
Brandon Carr is a little frustrated, but you're going to watch Suggs come around. He hits the shoulder of Carr. Carr stands in there, takes a big hit at the end. But it's really the presence of Roberts as he's going down the sideline to kind of hand fight with Carr a little bit. Carr goes down. Roberts stays up.
Raiders have the ball at the Baltimore 27. Carr to Aitman, wrapped up by Brandon Carr right away. A 3-yard gain for the rookie Marcell Aitman. Let's go back to the big play. Carr to Roberts.
You're going to see it coming right into your living room, and you see the tail end of it. Nice job by Roberts. Like I said, a little bit of hand fighting going on, which is allowable. But saw that interference call that he had earlier. Didn't push off that time. Kept his focus on the ball.
Raiders have Johnny Holton in the game. He's got some great speed just off the practice squad on Wednesday. Carr has time, checks it down to Doug Martin out of the backfield, cuts back inside the 20, and Doug Martin continues to have a big day. Brent Urban makes the tackle after a gain of 8 and an Oakland first down.
Well, Martin out in the open field, he's the check down receiver. You're trying to get the ball to Holton on a deep play, but now make a decision, go north and south straight ahead, gets the first down, gives them a fresh set of downs right inside the red zone. We'll see what Derek Carr, who's accurate everywhere around the field, what he can do down here in a condensed area.
72 yards of offense for Doug Martin so far. Now it's Jalen Richard, the running back. Nelson, the motion man. And it's a handoff to Richard, and Brandon Williams spins him down. Williams just eats up the inside. The big man out of Missouri Southern State, down his 6th year.
If you're looking for matchups, we saw it earlier. Jared Cook, he had an offensive pass interference call, but he is a great target down in this area. They have a 3-by-1 lineup. Jared Carr is the inside guy. I would expect him just to go straight up the field.
And they got a linebacker on Jalen Richard, who's lined up in the slot at the top of your screen. Carr looking end zone for Cook. He's open. Did he get it in bounds? Yes, he did. There is a flag down, but if it stands, it's a touchdown for the Raiders.
It looks like it's a hold on the Ravens secondary.
What an adjustment by Cook.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense, number 24. That penalty is declined. Result of the play is a touchdown.
5th touchdown this season for Jared Cook, and what an answer by the Raiders after the Lamar Jackson touchdown run.
You almost thought as this ball was hanging up in the air that he had thrown it too softly. Look at that, one-handed, pulls it down, gets the seat down, the feet go up. Everything is reviewed, looks good from here.
That's a remarkable play by Jared Cook. It needs to be confirmed in replay, so we'll not have the extra point until they confirm this. It was Chuck Clark who's in for Tony Jefferson on the coverage. And if it stands, what a drive for Derek Carr. 4 out of 4 for 71 yards and a touchdown.
That's a close call. That left heel, is it off the ground before he slides into the end zone? If not, this would be marked inside the 1 yard line.
The wait continues, and now it's been confirmed. Touchdown for the Raiders. And here's Carlson for the extra point. John Gruden, after the win over Arizona last week, said, we're not where we want to be, but I love our attitude and our effort. And you're seeing that on full display here today. Cook's touchdown brings the Raiders to within 3.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by KFC's new Chicken and Waffles, the most delicious union of all time, limited time only. The Home Depot, more saving, more doing. And by Honda. Hurry into the Happy Honda Days sales event today.
These teams meeting for the 4th consecutive year. And they played some close games over the last 3 years. And we've got another tight one with 5:09 to go in the third quarter. The touchdown by Cook has made it a 3-point game, with Carlson set to kick it away. Carlson, not a touchback this time. Chris Moore on the return. Moore across the 25, and then hit hard at the 28-yard line. Our rules analyst, Gene Steratore, is now with us from our New York studio. And Gene, what did you see on that last touchdown by Jared Cook?
What I'm seeing, and this has been trending the last few weeks, is on these scoring plays, it seems as if the NFL now is looking at these, and if something just doesn't jump right off of the screen that gives them the feeling that they could overturn it, that we're moving right to the extra point and not having what we used to have, and that is a review process and an official coming out to stands. It's very close. I cannot tell you that what I'm seeing with that left heel is big enough to say that I would overturn that. But it is something to be noted for that the NFL is going right to the extra point instead of a review now.
Great insight. Thank you very much, Gene Steratore, our rules analyst. Inside 5 minutes to go, third quarter. And now the Ravens offense back out on the field after that impressive touchdown drive to begin the second half. Lamar Jackson only had one pass on that 13-play drive. Second down and 9. Jackson to Boyle, the tight end. And he's got a Baltimore first down. Let's take one last look at that Jared Cook touchdown.
In the defensive room, this is called a pick. In the offensive room, it's called a rub route, which is a nice way of saying, I picked him. Right there. Jordy Nelson causing Clark not to be able to get to his guy he's covering, and it's an easy throw, which Derek Carr made look tough.
Jackson to Montgomery. Montgomery hit hard at the 45-yard line, and before that play, left guard Alex Lewis came off to the sideline. He was questionable with a shoulder injury today, and Bradley Bozeman has taken his place at left guard. There's Lewis, and walking with the training staff. Did not practice Friday because of the shoulder injury. Giving it a go today, but right now is on the trainer's table with Bozeman in. Second down and 4. Jackson will keep it himself. Jackson has the first down, out of bounds again inside Oakland territory. When we met with Paul Guenther, the defensive coordinator of the Raiders yesterday, he's talking so much about the Baltimore offense. He said, guys, you want to know what it is? It's Navy on steroids. Now, in the first
option offense, yeah.
You didn't see that much in the first half, but this second half has looked a lot like Guenther's description. 10 more yards needed to pass Terrell Pryor for the most rushing yards by a quarterback in their first 2 starts. Montgomery across the 45-yard line. It was Whitehead on the tackle, but not before Montgomery gains 5.
I cannot tell you how great of a job Ronnie Stanley's doing at left tackle in hooking the outside defender. You just don't see a man this big, that nimble, being able to reach the outside defender, because that defensive end is normally 50 or 60 pounds lighter. He's a speed rusher, but to be able to hook him like he's been able to do, that's impressive.
Jackson throwing right and incomplete, could not connect with John Brown. Jackson is 12 for 22 for 165 yards and those 2 first half interceptions.
And that's a little bit of just missing a layup there. He had to throw around a defensive end that might have changed the arc and the direction of the ball, but you've got to be able to hit your receivers when they're 2-3 yards wide open.
3rd down and 5 for Baltimore. Boyle goes in motion. Fast moving 3rd quarter. Montgomery up the middle. Montgomery, he's got enough for a Ravens first down.
I still think it is the threat of Lamar Jackson in the backfield where your eyes are fixed on him. Sure, there's a running back right to his right, but you're watching Lamar Jackson. You're waiting for him to do something. You don't want your pass rush to be so crazy that you run by him. We talked to Paul Guenther. He said, when we're rushing the passer, we can't go past him and give him open lanes to run in. So that defensive front is still pretty cautious as they're attacking the offense.
8th play of the drive. Edwards right up the middle inside the 35-yard line. Injury update. Here's Amanda Balionis.
Update on Alex Lewis. It was a stinger, which means he's in automatic concussion protocol. His return is questionable.
All right, Amanda. So it continues to be Bozeman at left guard for Baltimore as we approach 1 minute to go in the 3rd quarter. How about this formation, James?
Inverted wishbone.
Jackson will keep it himself, slipped a little bit, and it brings up 3rd down. So we got a tight game. How about this? This stat blew me away. Last week, the Ravens won a game by 6 points or fewer for the first time since December of 2016. All of their wins this year and last year had been by at least 6 points. During that span, they lost 7 games by 6 points or fewer. So they're in a tight one here, trying to pull it out. Jackson, he's going to throw. Looking for the comebacker the other way. He's got a man, it's Hurst. And Hurst shoved out of bounds by Gilchrist.
It's not a surprise that the Ravens employ 4 really good tight ends. Ozzie Newsome probably knows what he wants when he's looking at tight ends. But to get Hayden Hurst in the 1st round and then to get Mark Andrews in the 3rd round, they've got 2 really good work out of this past draft.
End of the 3rd quarter, you're watching the NFL on CBS. Baltimore had the football for 12 minutes in the 3rd quarter. As we start the 4th, it's a 20-17 game. First down and 10 for the Ravens at the Oakland 27-yard line. Jackson hands off to Edwards up the middle, stays on his feet. And 9 more yards for Gus Edwards.
There is a serious downhill slant when this young man runs the ball. You talk about running behind your pads. His pads are out in front. He's low. He's leaning forward. And you can't get low enough to really get under him. Carl Joseph tried that time. He skipped right past him.
Over 100 yards rushing for the 2nd straight game for Gus Edwards. And for more on Gus, let's check in with Amanda.
Did you guys know when you Google Gus Edwards, the second suggestion that comes up is fantasy football? The undrafted rookie out of Rutgers went from being less than 0.1% owned to now over 33% today. He says teammates have been joking around with him about it. And we asked if he was worried about it. He said, no, I don't really care about your fantasy team, but I do think the whole thing is funny.
Worth a waiver claim, that's for sure. On 3rd and 1, we have flags and movement.
And the Ravens were about to get fancy with a play action pass there.
And this appears to be going against Oakland.
Defense, number 90, 5-yard penalty, results in a first down.
Jonathan Hankins jump that gives Baltimore a first down.
And he's right in the middle of the line. He's leaning up in the gap. Looked like he was about to touch, or he did touch one of the offensive linemen before the snap.
So now the ball at the 13-yard line. This Oakland defense trying to force Baltimore to a field goal attempt. 13th play of the drive. Edwards cuts it back at the 10, dragged down by Joseph at the 8, but he gets 5 yards.
Just a great physical matchup on the offensive line, washing guys down and giving your runner a chance. Yeah, he's a straight down runner, but that gave him a chance to bounce that run to the outside and to see him. Marshall Yanda is the kind of reading leader up front. 12 years in the league, great on double teams, still physical, still quick, do a lot of things to help out this offense.
Brown goes in motion, a handoff to Edwards, waiting for the blocks, and Edwards inside the 5. That's enough for a Baltimore first down. 6 yards for Gus Edwards.
You know, it's not that Marty Mornhinweg doesn't have a bag of tricks. He has all the passes that everybody else around the league has. He has all those different designs, all the exotic stuff. But when you can run the ball and the other team cannot stop you from running the ball, you eat up clock, you demoralize the other team. Now, what they have to do after this score, if they score right here, they've got to come out and play a little better defense than they did the last stretch, the Ravens did.
1st and goal, and here come the flags.
False start. Offense, number 78, 5-yard penalty, first down.
That's on the rookie right tackle Orlando Brown Jr.
It's probably a little bit of a twitch. That's all, it doesn't take much.
So that pushes the ball back to the 8-yard line. Remember, in the first half, Ravens had a penalty down by the goal line, cost them a chance to score. They settled for 3. Edwards runs right into the pile at the line of scrimmage, and it's 2nd down and goal. This half, the Ravens have run 28 plays, and 23 have been on the ground. So there's your halftime adjustment in a big way for Baltimore and Marty Mornhinweg.
And you just brought in 2 players who kind of major in pass catching. Ty Montgomery in the slot and Hurst.
Jackson throwing to the end zone low, and it's incomplete. He was trying to squeeze one into John Brown, and now it's 3rd and goal.
That ball down low, a little bit behind John Brown. As he goes to the ground, that ball just moves a little too much, loses control of it. Raiders did a nice job in setting like a picket fence right along the goal line and not allowing anything to happen in front of them.
Can the Raiders limit Baltimore to a field goal attempt? It's 3rd and goal from the 8-yard line. Number 8 out of the shotgun. Jackson throwing. Crabtree! Touchdown! Against his former team! Oakland made the decision in the offseason to cut Crabtree and sign Jordy Nelson. The next day, Crabtree signed with Baltimore, and now a touchdown against his former mates. Crabtree had gone 4 straight games without a touchdown. That's his third of the year. Tucker's extra point is good on 3rd and goal. They love crabs here in Baltimore. Crabtree, the touchdown. Michael Crabtree now has 54 touchdowns in his career. 28 have come in the red zone. And how about the run versus the pass for Baltimore in this half? It's led to them eating up time of possession this half. They now lead again by 10 with 11:16 to go in the 4th quarter. It's a touchback. Oakland football when we return.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Dell and the XPS 13 with Dell Cinema.
The 2000 AFC Championship game between Baltimore and Oakland, with the Ravens winning and then going on to beat the Giants in Super Bowl 35. 11:16 to go, 4th quarter. Raiders football down by 10. And a handoff on 1st down to DeAndre Washington, fighting his way for some extra yards. Since 2015, Derek Carr has led a number of comebacks for the Raiders, 14 of them, which is surprisingly the most in the NFL. He needs a big one here. Looking to throw. Taking a deep shot. Can he connect with Holton? No. Incomplete. It was Jimmy Smith on the coverage.
This is just tight man-to-man coverage. One of the things that Harbaugh talked about that they're able to do because of their stable of really good corners. Brandon Carr, Marlon Humphrey, in this instance, Jimmy Smith. Maybe the best and most talented out of the 3. And you're trying to take a deep shot against him, and he said, no way.
Let's see if Martindale brings pressure here. We told you earlier, nobody blitzes more on 3rd down than the Ravens. 3rd and 5. A 4-man rush. Carr steps up, fires sideline, and incomplete. Cook could not get his feet in bounds. It's 4th down, and John Gruden sends out his punter, Johnny Townsend.
A quick 3 and out. Now you're going to put a Raider team back on the field defensively that's had to travel all the way across the country. They've been going up against a run game that looks like it's just getting stronger and stronger as the game goes on. So nice stop by the defense, leading to the offense for the Ravens.
2nd 3 and out today, forced by the Baltimore defense. And a short punt by Townsend. The rookie continues to struggle. Does take an Oakland bounce inside the 25-yard line. That'll look a lot better than in the box score than it actually was. 47 yards for Townsend. CBS's Super Bowl season continues next. Most of you will see red-hot Pittsburgh take on Denver. Others will see Miami against the Colts coming up next right here, doubleheader day on CBS. 2 drives this half for the Ravens. 30 plays, 146 yards. Back to work and on the ground with Montgomery. And a 2-yard pickup for Montgomery. How about during the timeout? Of course, last week saw Gruden and Carr kind of going at it a little bit. This week, some smiles. Sharing a laugh.
Gruden spent all those years on television, 9 of them. You develop a couple of good jokes to be able to tell.
We met with both of them about what happened on the sideline last week, and neither one of them said there was anything personal or disrespectful. As Derek Carr told us, we were just trying to solve a problem. It's not the first time we've yelled at each other. We're both fiery guys, and that's going to happen from time to time.
Yeah, but you let the head coach yell first. You don't yell at him first.
Well, Carr needs his defense to come up with a big stop right here. 9.5 minutes to go. It's 3rd down and 7.
It's been an interesting call by Paul Guenther. What do you do? Do you attack? Do you sit back? Do you make him throw it short? Let's make sure I got man-to-man on the outside.
Jackson, deep shot looking for John Brown. There's a flag down. Brown's got it! Had it in Sean Rashaan Melvin made the catch, but is it coming back?
10-yard penalty, 3rd down.
It's on Orlando Brown Jr.
And he had help there, so he didn't need to do it. You saw the tight end Boyle there to help him out. He didn't have to go and grab the defender as he got beat quickly. He was sitting inside, and when he sat inside, he should have realized you have an extra blocker outside of you.
John Harbaugh told us this week that the rookie Brown has done well. I think what we want at right tackle, but that hold negates a 48-yard gain from Jackson
now
to
they
Brown.
want to walk Marshall Yanda off the field.
And Clay Martin is telling Yanda he has to leave. Six-time Pro Bowler Marshall Yanda. Pro Football Focus has him as the 4th best guard in the NFL this year. And again, the referee, if he sees something that he wants the sideline to evaluate, he has the right to take Yanda out of the game. So Bozeman comes in at right guard.
You've gone from a big play because of a holding where you didn't need to hold. Now you're backed up.
And they'll run it. And Edwards taken down by Eric Harris, a 5-yard gain. Yanda has just gone into the blue medical tent to be further evaluated. But because of the penalty on Orlando Brown, it's now a punt for the Ravens and Sam Cook. This is just the 2nd punt of the game for Sam Cook, with Dwayne Harris back deep. Good boot by Cook. Harris all the way back to his own 25-yard line. Nowhere to go and thrown for a loss. A beauty from Cook. And the Raiders will be backed up to start this drive. A 56-yard boot, loss of 5 on the return.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Lowe's, Buffalo Wild Wings. Try our game day menu. And by Ram Trucks, built to serve.
Statues of Johnny Unitas, Ray Lewis outside the stadium here in Baltimore. 8:15 to go. The Raiders down by 10. Suggs coming. Carr gets rid of it to Richard. And a big pickup for Jalen Richard as Suggs was bearing down on Derek Carr. A gain of 16.
You bring 5, you have a free run at the quarterback, but Eric Weddle has man-to-man coverage against Richard and doesn't get up and challenge him.
And now Richard hobbles off to the Oakland sideline. And he's a big part of their passing game. He leads the team in receptions this year. It's now DeAndre Washington in at running back. Clock is ticking. Inside 7:40 to go. Ravens showing blitz. It's a handoff to Washington. Slipped a little bit and gets back to the line of scrimmage. Brandon Williams on the tackle for Baltimore.
We are at that junction of the game where offensively for the Raiders, you can't miss on plays. If you have a chance where somebody's open, you've got to be able to hit that open receiver because it's so tough going up against this Ravens defense.
Raiders have the worst point differential in the second half this year. And they are down by 10 with 7 minutes to go. Carr to Aitman. And then Humphrey makes the tackle. We're being told that Marshall Yanda is in concussion protocol on the Baltimore sideline. The Pro Bowl right guard. But right now, it's 3rd down for the Oakland offense. Is this 4-down territory, James Lofton?
Well, they've got to get past 3rd down because you've got Zadarius Smith coming in who can put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. It's going to be lined up in the middle over the guard area.
Play clock at 5. Carr wants it. 1 on the play clock, just gets it off. Carr, quick pass, and it's incomplete. Looking for Aitman again. And John Gruden is going to send out his punt unit. No, now he's changed his mind. And he's keeping the offense on the field with 6:11 to go.
Look at Carr. He's looking at the play clock. He's saying, you got to give me the ball right away.
How about the call here, James?
Well, they've had a substitution. The officials are over the ball. They're allowing the Ravens to get their guys in. Like I said, you're 2-8. Let's gamble. Let's go for it.
4th down and 8. Carr. Pressure from behind. The football is loose. And the Ravens scoop it up. It's Suggs. Suggs down the sideline. T-Sizzle will score! This Baltimore defense had gone 3 straight games without forcing a turnover. They finally get a big play, and Suggs, the 36-year-old veteran, goes all the way for a touchdown. It was Judon who knocked the ball free. Needs to be confirmed in replay to make sure that was not an incomplete pass.
When we were here in week 3, the conversation was, how can we keep Terrell Suggs fresh for the end of the season, where he has some juice and he can get after things? Well, looks like they did a pretty good job, because on that run, he out-sprinted a wide receiver into the end zone.
Touchdown has been confirmed. And a huge play by Terrell Suggs and the Ravens defense. 34-17, Baltimore in front. 3rd career touchdown for Terrell Suggs, his first on a fumble return for a touchdown. The other 2 were on interceptions, and now 34-17 in favor of the Ravens. Let's go back to that touchdown, James.
Well, they're forced into a 4th down, all-or-nothing situation, which makes you hold the ball a little longer than you normally would. And you can see the arm getting hit, ball coming out of the hand before the hand starts to go forward. And then Suggs, he's had it in right hand, switch it to the left hand. How about back to the right, then back to the left real quick? That's a crossover move.
The Ravens defense finally gets a turnover, and it turns into a touchdown. Injury update. Now Chris Moore is down, but from another injury update, here's Amanda Balionis.
For the Ravens, Marshall Yanda, he passed concussion protocol. He's good to go back in. Meanwhile, Derek Carr has his right ankle taped up after going into the medical tent. He also is good to go.
That is the feistiest person I've ever seen go in the medical tent. Marshall Yanda didn't even want to leave the field and was swatting the officials away. I don't know what they saw that made it think that, you know, he had been dinged up a little bit, because from my experience, offensive linemen always look like that.
We're being told that the unaffiliated neurotrauma consultant called down to the field and said that Yanda looked a little woozy, and they forced him to come out to be evaluated for the concussion, which he was, and as Amanda told us, he's good to go back in. And it's Chris Moore who on the kickoff was slow to get up and now slowly walking off the field. So 5:55 to go. Carr and the Raiders down 34-17. Carr in trouble. Carr is sacked. Judon getting back there first. There is a flag down. Tyus Bowser helping out, and it's a penalty against Oakland.
Holding. Offense. Number 66. That penalty is declined. Second down.
Now that's back-to-back plays where Derek Carr has been sacked. He has his right ankle heavily taped, and you could just see there that he didn't feel comfortable trying to move away from the pass rush. If I'm John Gruden, I'm keeping my eyes on him because I don't want him just to be a sitting duck back there in the pocket.
It's back-to-back plays that Judon has had a sack. He was the one that got credit for the sack on the forced fumble, and he gets that sack right there with Richard in at running back on 2nd and 18. Carr in trouble again! Guess who? It's a hat trick for Judon! 3 plays, 3 sacks, and he's going into the tunnel. He's done. His work here is done.
He didn't realize that it's just going to 3rd down, though. So you can do that on 4th down if you're not on the punt team.
What's he doing? 3 straight plays with a sack for Matthew Judon. And he's back on the field, everyone. Yes, there's still a game going on. I have a feeling John Harbaugh might have a chat with Matthew Judon after this game. And now Oakland calls timeout as Judon has made his way back to the sideline.
Oakland.
Now, the last time that happened in a Raider game was Bo Jackson running into the tunnel against the Seattle Seahawks on Monday Night Football.
And Flipper Anderson against the Giants, but that ended the game. There's still some time left here. Well, he had 3 sacks the entire season coming into today, and now he's got 3 sacks on 3 straight plays.
You know, he's out of breath from running back and forth, and it looked like he just mouthed. I thought it was 4th down.
It's 3rd and 23 as the Ravens have completely taken over here in the 4th quarter. Carr, quick pass, caught by Keon Hatcher, his first catch today, but well short of a first down. Zadarius Smith on the tackle. And John Gruden will punt with 4:25 to go. Told you earlier, Suggs with his 3rd career touchdown. And now Townsend will punt. It's Jones who had the punt return touchdown in the first half. Flag is down, and Jones out of bounds at the 44-yard line. You think about the Baltimore big plays today. 74-yard catch by Mark Andrews, 70-yard punt return touchdown by Jones, and the 45-yard fumble return touchdown by Terrell Suggs.
And when you couple that with a couple of pass interceptions that were batted up in the air against Lamar Jackson in the first half, and then not the adjustment, but I still think the decision at halftime to run the ball.
During the kick, holding, receiving team number 26. 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. First down.
Stay tuned for the NFL Today update delivered by Pizza Hut. Time permitting, JB, Phil, Nate Boomer, and Coach Cower have all the latest NFL scores and highlights coming up. Marshall Yonda, as we told you, cleared concussion protocol. He is back in the game, and Matthew Judon is back with his teammates on the sideline. And there's Joe Flacco, and as Jason LaCanfora, our insider, reported on the NFL Today earlier, he said that Flacco should be healthy enough to return to practice this week. And these are the words of Jason LaCanfora. He said that if the Ravens were to win today, that Lamar Jackson, likely to be the starter again next week in Atlanta. So first and foremost, John Harbaugh has to know whether or not Joe Flacco is healthy enough to return to practice. And if he is, this is a massive decision for this Ravens organization.
Well, coming into Lamar Jackson's first start, the team had a bye week. So you were able to practice Lamar Jackson, get him some extra work. And now with two quarterbacks who have different styles, who would you devote the majority of the practice time to leading up to the game against Atlanta?
It's another running play for Baltimore, something we've seen a lot of, and that running attack has been rejuvenated the last 2 weeks with Jackson at quarterback. You would think that no matter what, Lamar Jackson will have a role in this offense.
Well, you know what? He has a little bit the entire season. You even go back to week 1 where they have a big win and he plays a lot of the fourth quarter. So there have been plays on the table the entire season for Jackson. We talked to Marty Morningweg, the offensive coordinator. He said, we've continued to sprinkle this in because we know he's part of the offense and he's a full-time quarterback for us also.
On 3rd down and 1, Jackson keeps it himself, has some room around the edge. Now he's got the speed. Jackson down the sideline and out of bounds. Shoved out by Jason Kabinda, but a big play by Lamar Jackson. And that's why it's going to be awfully tough to take him out. A 39-yard gain. And now it looks like...
Yeah, there's a little limp there. I don't know
hurt.
if this is a cramp or what, but if you're RG3, you better start warming up on the sideline a little bit here.
Trying to run it off and telling Griffin III, hang on, I think I'm going to be okay.
You know, normally you have 5, 10, 15-yard runs. You get late in the game in the fourth quarter and you've got to stretch it out. It can be tough.
He'll hand it off here to Montgomery. And Montgomery, he's made a nice little impact for this Ravens offense today. And we've hit the 2-minute warning. 34-17 Ravens.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Verizon. The best unlimited is on Verizon, America's most awarded network. And by Walt Disney World Resort.
Two minutes to go. Ravens on the verge of their second consecutive win. It'll take them to 6-5 in the crowded AFC playoff picture. Lamar Jackson after that big run. Ravens are over 200 yards rushing in back-to-back games for the first time since 2012. And they're adding to their total. There was a little bit of concern after that Lamar Jackson run. Let's go back to the replay of that long run, and you can see late in the run,
it's not a fluid stride. I'm thinking that it's probably more of a cramp late in the ball game. And even later on, he kind of pointed at his chest. He goes, my bad. And we were thinking, well, why is he doing that? He was aware that he probably should have slid down in bounds so that the clock wouldn't start momentarily for them to reset it. So, good heads-up play.
I think they're more concerned about his health.
Oh, yeah, I would be too, yeah.
Thankfully, appears to be okay from a Ravens perspective, and now all they will do is take a knee. So Lamar Jackson, 14 of 25, 178 yards passing, a touchdown pass to Crabtree and 2 interceptions, and running total, 10 carries, 72 yards. So now he has the most rushing yards by a quarterback in his first 2 starts. 192 for Jackson in the last 2 games. And as we touched on before, now a massive decision with so much at stake around John Harbaugh and the Ravens and this franchise. Who will be the quarterback next week if Joe Flacco is healthy enough to return against the Atlanta Falcons, a game you'll see right here on CBS. Should be a fascinating week in Baltimore. And another win for the rookie Lamar Jackson. John Gruden's Raiders held tough, but in the fourth quarter, Baltimore poured it on, and Terrell Suggs, the touchdown off the fumble by Derek Carr to clinch the win. Raiders fall to 2-9, and next week they have a date with the 9-2 Kansas City Chiefs. Final score: Baltimore 34, Oakland 17. For James Lofton and Amanda Balionis, this is Andrew Catalan saying so long from Baltimore. Again, the Ravens go to 6-5 on the year, and we're going to go to James Brown in New York for the NFL Today update delivered by Pizza Hut.